Hey, what's going on? Good morning. How are you? Hope you're doing well today, and hope you're getting off to a great start on this Monday morning. Here in Charlotte, of course, it is raining. However, we got to get out, get moving, get grooving, and make sure we position ourselves for our own personal greatness. Good morning. How are you? So good to see you on this morning. So glad you chose to become a part of this conversation as we continue to work towards thriving even in the most difficult times. And if you really want to know what's inside of you, you will find out when things get difficult, things get tough. So I hope that you have found it within yourself to be able to go after it so that you can accomplish everything that you need to accomplish. Welcome to Kastawi. This is the podcast where we work to thrive, to flourish. Kastawi is that Swahili word that means to thrive or to flourish. And that's exactly what we intend on doing during this pandemic as we continue to press forward and become everything that we know that we are destined to be. I just believe that dreams are still coming true, that people are still working towards their goals. Even though we're in a new environment, I think that there are a lot of people who are willing to embrace the idea that if I'm going to thrive, I have to do the best with what I have. Let me say that again. I have to do the best with what I have. So look at what you have. Take inventory of what you have and do the best with it and be able to position yourself to achieve those goals. Can you believe it? We're about 31 days until the end of the year where we're going to get to the new year. And you and I will get the opportunity to launch into 2021 by the grace of God. And so we need to be preparing our minds for the launch into the new year. And the way you prepare your mind is not when the new year happens. It's like when people say, I got a New Year's resolution. Well, don't wait to New Year's to begin to developing your mind and moving towards that reality, because if you do, in my opinion, it's too late. Even though it's never too late to get started. But if you want to start on January 1, then you got to begin to condition your minds and setting your plans in place right now so that you can continue to move forward. And one of the things that we're going to have to do is make sure that we position ourselves. Good morning. How are you? Make sure we position ourselves in our minds so that we can accomplish those goals. And so that's what Kastawi is all about. It's about shifting the mindset. We've got to have a growth mindset in all that we do. Good morning. Good morning. We've got to have a growth mindset in all that we do. As we are growing in what God has called us to, or what we are destined to become, then you and I have to embrace this reality that sometimes we have to be leaders under pressure. As leaders under pressure, there's some things that we're going to have to be able to do. And one of the things with leaders under pressure is we got to be able to embrace change. You and I must understand that it's inevitable that change is necessary. We have to continue to make sure we're positioning ourselves to grow and to develop, to stay current so that we can continue to change and make sure we're changing in a way that's going to make us the most profitable, that's going to make us the most relevant, and that's going to continue to bring life to our lives as we seek to accomplish all that we want to do. I don't know who I'm talking to today, but how many of you know that there's some things that you want to go after, and in order to go after it, you've got to embrace some change. You've got to embrace change. If you're exercising, you've got to embrace the change of diet if you want to be able to achieve your exercise goals. If you want to achieve opening up your business or writing the business plan, you got to embrace change of how you're utilizing and organizing your time. And so I want to know, that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to deal with change, all right? Because change is necessary, and you and I have to embrace change. In fact, somebody can put that in the comment section. Embrace change. Embrace it. I love it. Hold it. Caress it. Why? Because change is a part of the process. So we're going to embrace it because change is a part of the process. Here's the thing that we have to understand about change. Change requires letting go of the past to fully embrace the possibility of the present. Like that there are some things that you and I have to be willing to do in order to accomplish what we need to accomplish. And there's some things we've got to say, what is it that I need to let go so I can open myself up to the change that I know I need in my life? That there are some of you who are listening now, you know you need that change in your life. It's time for a pivot. It's time for something new. It's time to get to the point where you know I can't keep living and grinding this way. I've got to start with incremental change so I can get the outcomes that I desire. And in order to do that, you have to embrace that there's some things I just got to let go. I can't take it with me to the new place. That's holding up some of us because we're trying to take things we've got to let go into a new place. But God is saying, listen, if you're going to get to this new place, you have to embrace the fact that you can't take that self-doubt with you. You can't take what your mom and them said to you or what your dad and them said to you into this new place. There's some things you've got to work to let go. Now, I'm not trying to belittle or minimize trauma that we have experienced in life. But if you know you've gotten that trauma where someone important to you has said something that's hurt you and you're carrying it now, you got to go get the help you need. You know what I mean? You got to embrace it so that you can get where you need to go and go where you need to go. That's right, Moya. You got to embrace it. And as a result, you've got the change that you wanted. And there's some things you got to know I can't take to the new place. And by not taking it to the new place, you and I are positioning ourselves to make sure we achieve everything that we need to achieve. And so we got to let it go. So you don't have to wait until 2021 to decide, you know what? I need to start releasing some of this toxic stuff. Releasing the toxic thinking, releasing toxic people, releasing toxic habits and things that I got to let go in order for me to get there so I can achieve the change that it is. That's right. We've got to get the help that we need. So at the end of the day, you and I must embrace this reality as we continue to move forward and achieve change. Here's the thing I want you to be. Be patient with yourself because change is a process. It's not something that we can achieve overnight. There's some things that we've been holding on to for a long time, but we must embrace the reality that change is a process, which means that it's going to take some time, but it's going to take your commitment. Hear me when I say this. It's going to take commitment. Change takes commitment. Commitment to being uncomfortable sometimes. Commitment to saying I can't spend time doing the things I used to do because I'm trying to now invest the time in the things that I need to do. So you got to embrace it and you've got to decide how I'm going to use this time, and I'm going to embrace the process. That is, change is a process. I'm going to embrace it and I'm going to do whatever I can to begin this incremental process of embracing change. And so in order to deal with change, many of you have read the book, Who Moved My Cheese? And so I had to revisit that book and began to look for some of these quotes that came from the book that really impacted me. One of the things that Spencer says in his book about change, he says, what you are afraid of is never as bad as what you imagine. The fear you let build up in your mind is worse than the situation that actually exists. Hear me when I say this. He says the fear you let build up in your mind is worse than what really exists. In other words, your fear has over-exaggerated the cost, the problem, the issue that it's going to take in order for you to accomplish everything that you need to accomplish. And so you and I must be willing to embrace the change and understand on the other side of the change is not as bad as you think it's going to be. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be challenging. It's going to be difficult, but good change is good for your life. And on the other side, so fear has a way of stopping us from achieving true change. I'm not saying being irrational or anything like that, but you and I must be willing to embrace the change that we're going to accomplish in our lives. And as a result of that, we have to continue to press forward and recognize we cannot operate in fear. We operate in wisdom. All right. So the fear may raise up some questions that we need to answer. It may raise up some things that we need to examine, but never let fear be the reason why you don't go after the change. Fear might be the reason that you check out the wisdom, that you say, okay, let me get some more information about it, and you make an informed change. But don't let the change be something that you walk away from simply because of fear. We can't do that. We must embrace it, and we must understand that we've got to walk with it. So we can't do that. Another point that I want to raise up is adapt to change quickly. Here it is. The quicker you let go of old cheese, is what he says in the book, Who Moved My Cheese, the sooner you can enjoy new cheese. The problem that some of us have gotten used to is eating old cheese, living with the old cheese, doing the old cheese way. But you and I must be willing to embrace the fact that we have to move away from the old cheese, and we have to move quickly towards the new cheese, because the new cheese is waiting on us if we're willing to make the adjustments and the change so that we can accomplish the things that we need to accomplish. I want you to take some time to really do some self-inventory and ask yourself, am I holding on to old cheese? Am I holding on to old ideas? Am I holding on to old situations? Am I holding on to pain that's turned into old cheese? And I have to do what's necessary to deal with that so I can enjoy the new cheese that is out ahead of me. And so you and I have to be willing, that's right, throw out the old cheese. It's time to throw it out, and it's time to look for the new cheese that is available to you on the other side of change. They say insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting something different. Sounds like my dog now wants to be a part of the conversation. She's with me hanging out. So you got to just, you know what, embrace the moment and continue to move forward. But at the end of the day, you and I must be willing to embrace the reality that old cheese is not what God has intended for us to have in our dream diet. Let me say that again. Old cheese is not what we need in our dream diet. It's not what we need in our work diet. That you and I must understand that old cheese is not good. It's not a good diet to achieve the goals that we have set before us. And so we have to embrace the new. Take what works, okay? Because there's some things that's good, but the things you got to let it go so you can accomplish everything that you need to accomplish. When you move beyond your fear, you feel free. Oh, man. He says, when you move beyond your fear, when you move beyond it, you feel free. Some of us, we haven't felt free because we haven't moved beyond that fear. And so you and I must be willing to move beyond it so we can achieve everything that we need to do, because there's freedom on the other side. And so you and I must be willing to move beyond it so we can achieve that freedom. Here's another quote he has in the book. He says, if you don't change, you can become extinct. Let me blow that up. Here's what he says. If you don't change, you can become extinct. I'm just going to let that marinate for someone right there. Change is necessary to stay relevant. So if we don't embrace the idea that I've got to be changing, I've got to move towards, I got to be bettering myself on a daily basis, you can become extinct. In other words, he's saying you can become irrelevant. You can be stuck in 1988 when it's really 2020. You don't want to be stuck in an era that's no longer relevant to where we are right now. Yes, we may go back and get the Throwback Thursdays, but don't make your whole life a Throwback Thursday. You and I have to understand we've got to move forward. We've got to be innovative. We got to do some change. Again, not that some old things aren't relevant today. I'm just saying don't make your whole life a Throwback Thursday, because if you do, you're not going to be relevant in the things that you're trying to accomplish. So at the end of the day, we don't want to be positioning ourselves in a place where we're becoming extinct because we refuse to change. The reason why some people don't change is because they fear what they're going to lose. They feel they may lose power. They may lose footing because now it's something I got to learn that's new. But you and I must understand we cannot put ourselves in a position where we become extinct. Here's another point from his book. You cannot change the past, but you can learn from it. Come on, pause right there. You can't change the past, but you can learn from it. When the same situation arises, you can do things differently and become happier and more effective and successful today. He says in the book that you can change. Don't get stuck in the past. Just learn from it. Take those lessons and apply it to the situation that you find yourself in currently. And so you and I have to be willing to do that, all right? So we're going to embrace change, and by embracing change, that means that the past, some failures, some mistakes, some things we didn't get right, you got to let it go. Learn the lesson and move on. In fact, somebody can put that right there in the chat line. Learn the lesson and move on so that you can achieve what you need to achieve, right? Learn the lesson, and then you can have people, you can move on with your life. Here it is. Change happens when the pain of holding on becomes greater than the fear of letting go. When the pain of holding on becomes greater than the fear of letting go. Make change before you get to that point. Don't let the pain get so severe that it becomes more severe than the fear of letting go. You got to be willing to make sure that you position yourself to do what's necessary as you are moving forward and accomplishing the things that you need to accomplish. And so you and I have to decide that we're going to make this change and we're going to embrace it now. And I'm not going to continually have to let myself get to the pain, the most excruciating pain, emotionally, mentally, physically, in order for I make the change. Make the change now. And when you make the change now, you'll put yourself in a situation where you can accomplish everything you need to accomplish. Here's the other thing he says in the book. He says, imagining yourself enjoying your new cheese leads you to it. He said, you got to think about it. You have to think about it. You got to think about it. And as you continue to do what God has called you to do, I just want you to think about it. Imagine where you can be. Look forward ahead. I think there was the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, that said that you have to begin with the end in mind, that you have to be willing to see the end and imagine what it looks like on the other side of change. And by doing so, it positions you to go after the things that you need to go after so that you can accomplish it. And so that's what we want you to do. You gotta continue to walk in it, and you gotta continue to move forward in it, because I want you to imagine yourself at the new cheese, because you recognize that you need to make the change. All right, so we're going to make the change. Here's a scripture I want to share with you today. Isaiah 43:18 through 11. It says, forgetting those, the former things, do not dwell on the past. Then God says, see, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I'm making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. God says, I'm doing some new things. Let it go and understand I'm making a way in wilderness. I'm making paths in wilderness. I'm bringing some springs, some streams into the wasteland. I'm doing something new. And God says, in this season, you and I have to be willing to embrace the newness and the reality that we are currently in, and maximize the newness to accomplish the goals and the dreams He's placed upon our hearts. I just want you to maximize the newness. Hear me when I say maximize it. There are streams in the wasteland that God has for us to be able to find and be refreshed as a result of it. He's making pathways. He's making ways in the wilderness. Let's look for those ways in this wilderness that we're in. We're in this wilderness of COVID-19, quarantine, these upgrades in terms of the levels of quarantine that we're in. You and I need to be looking for pathways within the wilderness that we're in, but those pathways are only available when we are open to change. And when we're open to change, you got to understand we're going to maximize the newness that is available to us. And you have to ask yourself, what's new? What's available? What can I do? How can I accomplish the goals that I have? And I've seen lots of innovative ideas online of people who have embraced the newness of where we are, and they're doing some phenomenal things. And I'm deeply proud of watching the creativity that's taking place out in our world as people are finding new ways to do things that perhaps may have been old, but doing it in a new way, delivering their products, getting their ideas out there, still hosting concerts that are virtual, still doing things that is so amazing. And it's great to see how people are deciding that even though things aren't the way that I want them to be, I'm embracing the newness of the moment. I'm making the change, and I'm accomplishing all that I need to accomplish, because at the end of the day, you and I have to decide that I have to live in this moment. And if I have to live in it, I got to make changes in order for me to accomplish the things that I need to accomplish. And so I perceive what the Lord is saying, that some of those things, forgetting those things that are behind, that I can't dwell on the things that's in the past and just talk about it all the time unless I'm learning from it. And then I have to see the new thing that's happening right now. I want you, those who are watching and listening and sharing it with other people, to embrace the newness of the moment. That's your theme for the week. I'm embracing the newness of the moment. I'm embracing the newness that's available to me, and I'm going to use it to make impact in my life, accomplish my dreams, and make the impact in the lives of other people. And as a result of embracing the newness of what's available to you, I look forward to what the change will do, with the results it's going to yield, because you made a decision today that I'm going to embrace the newness of the moment. It's uncomfortable, but I'm going to embrace it. I don't like it, but I'm going to embrace it. Wish things can be like they used to be, but I got to embrace the newness of the moment so I can accomplish what I need to accomplish for my life. And I want you to embrace the newness now. Don't wait until 2021. Embrace the newness now. And by doing so, you will accomplish everything that you need to accomplish. And I'm looking forward to seeing your success on the other side. Thank you all so much for tuning in on this morning. I hope that it has made a positive impact on you. As we operate on our theme for the week, I'm embracing the newness of the moment. And I pray that the change that you create is a change that allows you to see that there's yet more for you to do. There's yet more for you to accomplish, and there's yet more for you to make an impact in our world. God bless you. I love you so much. I hope that you have enjoyed our time today, because at the end of the day, I know that there's greatness on the inside of you. Let's continue to Kastawi. Let's continue to move forward. I hope that you've had an impactful time today. And our theme this week, I'm embracing the newness of the moment. What's new? What's available? What can I do? What changes I need to make so that I can accomplish everything that I need to accomplish? Again, love you so much. God bless you. Look forward to our conversation again on next week as we embrace the newness of the moment. Let's get prepared. Let's be ready before 2021 hits. We've got our mind right. We've got our heart right. And we've got our plan, and we're ready to take action. God bless you. I look forward to seeing you next time. Peace and blessings.